just everywhere. They could only run to the river unless they decide to swim across. Heading out this evening to do a semi-improvisational overnight. By semi-improvisational, I mean that I planned on doing the overnight, but I didn't plan on recording it. Hence not having an action cam with stabilization and walking with a cell phone camera pointed with the selfie cam. Anyway, this is more of a test of systems. Getting ready to do some things, so I gotta put some miles on my feet, get some wind in my lungs, and test some gear. But nothing super fantastic. Just me doing me. But with any luck, I'll have the accompaniment of Charles Dickens, not the author. But again, semi-improvisational. Had I known and things been planned ahead of time, I'd have brought some Chef Boyardee spaghetti. That's on my way, so I might as well check out this damn project. See what kind of progress they're making. Oh yeah, flowing just fine. You know, last year they started knocking out this dam. They had actually spanned a road across to move their heavy equipment so they could go on the far side over there, basically down through here, and then chip it away and work backwards. But it seems like between this pile of rubble here and that pile of rubble there and all these little different entry points, it seems like they worked it from this end to that end. Anyway, that's what made it so I couldn't do any kayaking, because they shut the river down, what was it, July 16th last year, so now I don't have an excuse. Well, wonders never cease. He made it. I don't blame you. It's always best to be facing out.
Adventures and fuckery.
Alright, so first menu item is going to be this basmati rice with this dehydrated vegetable blend. And then I'm going to take this stuff and throw it in. This was beef jerky that I tried to make 3 years ago. But basically I fell asleep, and instead of 8 hours, I had it cooking for, or drying for 11 hours. And I thought it was unsalvageable, so I put it in the Cuisinart and chopped it up and keep it in the freezer and refrigerator ever since, and we'll see if it gets me sick. Alright, so with this Keith titanium rice cooker, one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you actually fill it up to the right amount of liquid, which is noted on this side. Can't really get a good shot of that. But anyways, you want to make sure you have enough liquid in there. And if you're going to have too much of anything, make sure it's liquid, because at least you have soup at the end of the day. Alright, so we're boiling it up nice and slow. Got the steam rising out. Pretty good simmer. Turn this light out so you get a better idea of how the ever-new alcohol stove is doing. This thing blooms pretty fast compared to the Triad. It's a lot lighter than the Trangia. I think it's pretty efficient on fuel. I don't do any kind of like real test on it, but this is the one I've been using for years. And I like how you could just set your pot right on it. I have an enhancer that they sell. It's made in Japan. It's titanium. It basically turns this into a jet boil. But I'm not looking to boil up fast, I'm looking to boil slow and get a good simmer on this. Alright, so that stove's just about to burn out, and I've let it go for about a good half hour. I decided to just let it keep going. Once it's burned out, I'll Let's see what we got on the inside of the pot. Any second now. And it's out. All right, let's take a look. This is gonna be a, yeah, I can do it with one hand. Ooh, I don't know if that's completely cooked. That's part of the reason I'm out here. Seems fluffy enough. All right. Let's take a... Actually, I'll turn the light on here. So we don't have dueling lights. Take a bite here. It's not as tender as I would like it to be, but it's still tender. And it's full of all the flavor from the vegetables and the beef, which again, we'll see if that makes me sick. It's 3 years old. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this, because there's liquid in the bottom, or should be, unless it all boiled off. Yeah, all that broth down there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rice and I'm going to spoon it into the main vessel, and then I'm going to eat it from there. All right, so now that I've poured that rice and vegetable and beef mix, the top has become the bottom and the bottom has become the top. I expect this to be a little bit more tender. Hot. Ooh-ah. Definitely more thoroughly cooked and tender, which stands to reason because it was more in contact with the liquid and it wasn't just steaming like the top portion was. Because once it fluffs up, your volume increases. And the way this is engineered, let's see if I can get a good shot of this. Go on this side of the light. So this tells you approximately how much rice you're putting in. And of course you got to account for the vegetables too, because it's a different volume. But it has the, let's see if I can actually focus on that. 100 grams. Camera's having a little trouble focusing. Yeah, 100 grams of rice, 200 grams of rice, 280 grams of rice. And then it doesn't tell you what this top one is. But that is almost even with the water side. Generally, when you're cooking rice, if you're cooking a cup of rice, using a cup and a half of water. So the way they have this for the water side is if you're cooking the 100 grams of rice, you fill your water to this point. 200 grams, you fill your water to this point. 280 grams, you fill your water to this point. And it's only offset by, again, a very narrow margin as far as like volume goes, because you do have the bottom of this main portion that is not in contact, and then it soaks into the rice. Long and short of it, like I said, if you add too much water, at least you got soup. But doesn't have to be perfect, just has to be edible, and it's pretty good. I don't know if this is in frame or how it's going to come out, but about that rice dish, it's not the greatest thing I've ever eaten, but I scraped the bottom, I drank the broth, put water in it, drank the residue. If it was served at a restaurant as a side dish, you'd probably say, hey, that was interesting. If it was served at somebody's house, you'd say thank you. And if you were walking on a trail for 3 days lost, and I cooked that up for you, you'd probably bring it up at every Christmas dinner for the rest of your life. I said that to say this. It's what we're going to be eating in Montana.